It's a couple of days before Christmas and the wind outside is howling. It isn't cold yet, but they're talking like it's going to get that way later on. Come along with me and I'll show you what I'm doing inside the camper. I went back to my restaurant surplus store and they had big bags of spinach. You know how I love those. I was very excited. $3 for this big bag of spinach. Now, you can use it as a pillow or you can turn it into spinach powder, which has become a very popular thing to have here at the Homestead. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I have done videos in the past talking about how I dehydrate spinach. After I turn it to powder, I put it in a jar and put paper towel on it, and then I use my brake bleeder to seal it up. Now I haven't got this one sealed up. This is actually our last jar. I was really happy when I came across this yesterday. Now I can get it dried out, powdered up, put in a jar, and airtight sealed until I'm ready to use it. This spinach is pre-washed spinach because the intention was for it to be quick and easy for restaurants to put on salad bars or in their recipes. So I know that this spinach is clean, so I don't have to even bother with washing it. I'm going to be putting it straight into the dehydrator and let it dehydrate out. While this is drying, I'm going to be moving on to working on some deer jerky. Usually around Christmas I have deer jerky, and we just did get the deer that Jay harvested back. We're still waiting on another one, and I'm going to show you how I do that. My dehydrator is a Nesco dehydrator that I bought several years back at a garage sale. I think I gave $5 for it. It's been all I've ever needed to use, and the more that I learn how to dry my foods on it, the more useful it is. I will definitely be on the lookout at garage sales for another dehydrator, because I can see that in the future one is not going to be enough. Because the leaves of spinach are so light, I pack them on there pretty good, and then I just keep an eye and turn them every now and then, just kind of keeping them light and airy. And I also rotate my trays as I'm drying anything, so I pack them on pretty good. Now these are really fresh spinach, and I'm happy to see that. But once in a while you'll get a leaf that has maybe a little bit of something that's wilted down. That's really not going to hurt anything. Once it's dried you won't even notice it, but I like to kind of pick it off just because, well, you know, it's the thought of it. So when I have one like that, if I can't wash it off, then I will just feed it to my chickens. That's right, I have chickens now to eat my scraps. Set my next one on. See, there's one that's wilted. A lot of times that's just because that was laying next to the bag too long. Most of the time you can clean that right off. With spinach, you really want to get it home and get something done with it, because spinach doesn't really last that long in the refrigerator. Speaking of chickens, my grandson was over the other day, and he has only watched me one time take care of the chickens. And I was really amazed at how quickly this under 2-year-old child picked up on what needs to be done to take care of chickens. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. You gonna check on your chickens? You gonna go check on your chickens? Gonna give them some feed? You see any? Uh-oh, did you lose your shoe? Is there any eggs? So much fun to have the grandson here to help me out and see that he's taking such a great interest in the farm life already. This is not setting completely down, and that's fine, because as this dries, it will go ahead and shrink down and all of those will fit together. I just do. I really do. I keep a close eye on it as it's drying. I mean, it is right here in the camper. In the summertime, I dry outside. In the wintertime, I dry inside. Okay, that looks like about all I'm going to be able to fit on this batch. We do need to save some for our Christmas dinner. It's just one way that my family will eat spinach, and I'm pretty happy for it. They don't mind at all having a whole salad full of spinach. Now I'll take these scraps, put them in the chicken bowl. They're going to love this. I put out some cilantro this morning that had just gone a little bit too far in the refrigerator, and they devoured it. It's the next day and the wind is still blowing. However, it has gotten very, very cold outside. My spinach has dried and it's in a nice crispy sound to it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it next. The last spinach that I did, I just crunched up by hand. I'm going to put it in my Ninja. I love my Ninja. I've had it forever. My mom bought it for me years and years ago. I use it all the time. Okay, fill it up. The lid on. One, two. I don't want to pulverize it too much. Put it in the bowl. I'm going to do all this up just the exact same way that I just did that, and I'll show you what that big bag of spinach reduced down to. I'm going to show you how I use this powder because I'm hungry and I need to make breakfast. Now that I have turned it all into a flaky, leafy texture with my Ninja, I'm just going to fill my jar. Looks like I'm going to have a little extra to put in the jar that we've been working on. That's okay, we've been going through it pretty fast. Got one big bag of spinach reduced down to this. That's very nice for storage, especially when you're living in a camper. And this is going to be so much yummy goodness in our eggs, our meatloaf, soups. I'm even thinking about maybe using some in my garlic cheesy bread. I have a video to that if you guys want to look at it. If I can remember, I'll leave a link up here. And so now, put our lid on. These are the actual Food Saver lids. They are an accessory to the Food Saver, if any of you have one of those. But I don't have a Food Saver. I just have the lids. I ordered them. You can order them separately. You don't have to order them with... You don't have to order a Food Saver to order them. And this is a brake bleeder that I bought at Harbor Freight. Oh, I forgot one important step. I always forget a step. Since this is, and you can see it already tried to seal. Since this is so fine, I need to put a paper towel over the top of it. And that just keeps it from sucking up the spinach into the seal or into my brake bleeder. Put that in there. You don't have to do this with everything, just those things that are really fine. Okay, put that back on there again. Pump it up. Sometimes you can actually hear that lid pop. Most of the time you don't. And you just keep pumping that until you just can't get it to rise anymore. I'm at 30 pounds of pressure right now. And it looks like that's about all I'm going to get out of this jar. Pull it straight out in a hurry. Pull this off and you can see, sealed. I'll label that and put it up on my shelf. And that will keep for a long time. It's amazing when you open the seal, even after it being stored for several months, you open that seal and you can just smell the goodness in it. And now I'm going to show you one way to use this. The first thing I did is cut me up some bacon. And that's about 4 strips of bacon. I just cut it up. And I'm going to brown it, get it cooking real good. And then we'll add some more ingredients. While this bacon is browning, let's go ahead and mix up our egg mixture. The first thing we need is 4 eggs. Put that in there. And you can see I'm just using the same bowl that I used to hold my spinach in. Won't hurt anything since I'm going to put the very same thing in my eggs. These are my farm fresh eggs from my farm fresh chickens. I like to add whipping cream or evaporated milk. Just a couple tablespoons. Just a bit of salt because we do have that bacon and the bacon has quite a bit of salt. Instead of using regular black pepper, I'm going to use the 7 pepper blend that I get from the Amish folks. And I'm only going to sprinkle a tad of that in there. It just has pepper with a good flavor in it. I think because they use probably dried bell peppers in that makes an incredible flavor. Okay, and now we will add the spinach. Now remember, this spinach was giant, lots bigger than it is now, and so a little goes a long ways. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of spinach to 4 eggs. Gives a whole new meaning to green eggs. Whip it up really good, make sure that milk gets all incorporated in there. I'm going to set that to the side for a little bit, and this is actually elephant garlic. If you have not seen elephant garlic, go ahead and look for it. It's still got the garlic flavor, maybe a little bit milder, but they come in huge cloves that are really easy to chop up. I use them whenever I just want a mild garlic flavor. But the bacon is brown now, and I'm going to go ahead and add this so that it can get started cooking. You don't want to put that in there right with your bacon because it will burn up. Garlic burns pretty fast, so you want to put it in later in the cooking. Man, I can smell that garlic flavor. I can smell that garlic smell already. It smells good. Whenever I am cooking my eggs, I always try to spread out all of the meat or whatever else I have so that it's incorporated throughout the entire thing. And then I'm just going to pour the eggs in there. Try to make sure it gets all around so that that bacon is in every single bite. And this is on low heat. I let that skillet cool down a little bit before I put those eggs in there. That's another thing you want to try to remember to do. And I'm going to let that cook until it starts to firm up. I like to turn my skillet over the burner just to make sure that all of the bottom of those eggs is cooking evenly. Now I can see that the egg is starting to cook on the bottom, so I'm going to add my feta cheese. I'm just going to sprinkle that on everywhere. Feta is a very sharp flavor. It's a very rich flavor, so you want to be sure that you like feta before you put it on there. I love feta. I forgot to put basil when I put my spinach, so hopefully this will go ahead and incorporate in there. I'm just going to sprinkle, this is my own basil that I grew in my camper garden. Sprinkle a few pieces of that in there. It looks like the cheese is starting to melt, so I'm just going to go ahead. And I don't want to scramble this. I just want to try and flip it over. And you can see that the uncooked part starts to run out. I try not to get my cheese against the skillet because what happens then is it gets down there in that hot grease and it actually scalds. I try to keep the cheese away from the bottom of my skillet. And you can see I'm not wanting to scramble it really, and just keep turning it just a little bit just to keep that bottom from burning. We'll just turn that off. The skillet's hot enough to finish cooking the eggs, and then I don't have to worry so much about the bottom burning. Okay, it looks like it is about time to plate this up. Let's get it plated up. I'm starving. I sliced up a grape tomato and added me a dollop of sour cream, and I'm ready for breakfast. Woo, what a good breakfast. It gives me a lot of energy so I can get working on the next video. So be sure to check that out. It will be coming up very soon. If you guys are enjoying my videos, don't forget to like them. Likes make a big difference on my YouTube channel and how YouTube puts them out in the algorithm. Also, if you know somebody that would be interested in watching my journey, Share this video with them. Until next time, love and peace to everyone.